All right, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we had resistance at 36.5 to 38.5 and support at 30 quarter to 32 quarter. And so far, even though we've seen a little bit more activity from the sell side, overall the ES is still balanced within those zones. And 30 quarter to 32 quarter remains key on the downside. The first rotation up here in the pre-market session failed at the midpoint VWAP, getting a little bit of rotational activity there. But once the market opens, if we still hold 30 quarter, 32 quarter, we can still get a upside move back up to 36.5 to 38.5. That is the key area on the upside. So overall, contextually, ES is very balanced at the moment. It's defined in this 30 to 40 range, and basically so far we're stuck within this range. Bigger picture, we've seen a pretty decent reversal to the upside, and Q has made new highs on the year. TF has put in a pretty decent move to the upside as well. So overall, the context has been bullish. This is really the first short-term sign of weakness that we've seen, and it's happening in the overnight session on low volume. So we have to still give edge to the buyers until that 30 quarter, 32 quarter zone is taken out with any kind of conviction. And even then, there aren't any big econ reports pending this morning. We have FOMC minutes out in the afternoon, but in the morning session, there's really no major econ event. And then we have a lot of econ reports out tomorrow. So today, even a break from this balance might not really result in a big directional move unless that break happens on high volume and high momentum. But if it's simply a little poke below 30 quarter or the overnight low, the market can still find buyers at the next zone, 25 quarter to 27 quarter. It could go a little bit lower, but given the fact that we're running on below average volume and we're still stuck in balance, it's tough to go with the breakdown on the downside because it can quite easily fail, and price just gets right back into the 30 to 40 range. So that makes it a little bit tricky as far as going with the directional break on the downside. So that's something we'll have to monitor in real time. Is how much momentum are we seeing? What type of tick readings are we seeing? Is the volume improving as the market breaks or goes higher? So those are some of the observations we'll have to pay attention to. But overall, we've been in a bullish market, and the buyers have been in control. So the first break here could still find buyers, and we come back up. On the upside, 36.5 to 38.5 is the key area. And if we can break through that with any type of conviction, then ES would be set for a test of the 44 to 46.5, and 46.5 is the all-time high in the S&P. So those are really the two main ideas, is that, if we get a downside break, even though from a price action perspective, ES could go lower, below 25 quarter, it could go down to 20.5 to 22, and potentially even 14 to 16.5, but we will need to see some better volume in order for a wide range move like that to take place. Otherwise, this could simply be a poke below, find buyers, and then go back up to 36.5 to 38.5. That type of day. On the upside, we can get a move up to 44 to 46.5 and then start balancing. A lot of econ out tomorrow. So, it's an interesting context right now where we basically just have to be patient. Either we take the trade at pre-market support or wait for the market open. Sometimes, you get a scenario where you'll get a little poke below where you'll test for stops below the overnight low, and then the buyers are step in. So any weak hands get stopped out, and then the buyers step in and push it back into the defined balance, the defined range of 1830 to 1840, and that resistance zone at 36.5 to 38.5 would then be in play on the upside. So those are really the main ideas. Again, we do want to be careful with taking too aggressive of a trade or too aggressive of a directional trade where we're going with the break. The first break of the support zone of the overnight low could have a little bit of follow through, but because the overall context has been bullish and because the other markets are still holding up fairly well, I'm not really inclined to short a move at aggressive prices because the overall context has been supporting the upside, and I'd rather still look for a long setup at the support zones below. The only tricky part is going to be, do we buy 25 quarter or 27 quarter if this breaks, or do we wait for the range to expand a bit? And that's where the volume and NYC tick and momentum will come into play and help us out. If you're watching NQ, we do have support at 49.5 to 51.5 on the upside. 78 quarter HVN is an important level, and if that gets taken out on the upside, then ES is going to have a pretty good shot at testing 40 quarter and 44 to 46 half. So those are a couple of levels to keep in mind on NASDAQ. Aside from that, Russell is pretty relatively balanced in the overnight session. Keep an eye on the overnight VPOC in the Russell at 1154. So like 1153 to 1154 is support in TF, and as long as that area holds, again, it'll tell you that we're still stuck in balance and buyers can step in. So those are really the main ideas and main observations heading into the open. Let's watch the volume and the NYC tick especially, because the internals are going to open on a negative note anyway. But the momentum off the open can help us gauge whether we have any strong sellers in this market, or are responsive buyers stepping in at these lower prices and pushing the market back up, which is still the scenario that I'm personally leaning towards, is buyers stepping in either at the support zone or on a poke below. So those are main observations. Let's see how well ES holds up and the other markets hold up off the open, and we'll take it from there.